China's President Xi Jinping concluded his state visit to India with an agreement to develop closer economic and political ties despite some long-standing differences. Shweta Bajaj reports from New Delhi.
President Xi's three-day visit to India ended in New Delhi, where he signed a dozen landmark investment deals with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two leaders issued a joint statement laying out a blueprint for closer ties between the world's two most populous countries. China will establish two large industrial parks in western India, investing up to $20 billion in India's infrastructure over the next 5 years, including engineering work to increase the speed of Indian railways to 160 kilometers an hour.
The most important actually is the personal rapport and personal chemistry that was evolved between Xi Jinping and Modi during the Ahmedabad outing. I think their body language reflected that they were quite flexible, they were relaxed, they were talking, they were, This is essential between two nuclear countries. The highest leadership should know each other so that they do not make any miscalculation.
What didn't get settled was China and India's long-simmering dispute over their shared border. It stretches 3,400 kilometers or more than 2,000 miles, making it the longest border dispute in the world. Modi pressed for more stability there. President Xi called for, quote, friendly consultation to resolve the disputes. The two leaders during their meeting discussed the importance of China-India's bilateral ties for not just people of their respective countries, but also for Asia. But the biggest success of the visit was the openness of the leadership to discuss all bilateral issues. One of the most respected strategic analysts in India says this was the most successful bilateral meeting between China and India in decades.
I think this has been more satisfactory than many in the past, and many substantive issues were discussed, certain agreements were arrived at. And to their credit, I think both the leaders, Mr. Xi and Mr. Modi, were able to address some very complex issues that they have inherited over the last 20-30 years, particularly the unresolved territorial and border dispute. So there was no attempt at trying to evade tough issues, and yet both of them approached it in a very constructive way with a very clear eye on the bigger picture, which is that if this is to be an Asian century, India and China need to work together.
Before departing, President Xi also invited Indian Prime Minister Modi to visit China. Shweta Bajaj, CCTV, New Delhi.